All right, welcome everybody. I'm Michael DeFelice from Number Cruncher, the developers of Order Time Inventory, and we're here to talk about the recent update and have a little Q&A at the end. I wanted to go over the release notes with you and just talk about the functionality. The main release note, like right at the top, we've added ACH and eCheck functionality to Order Time Pay. We just wanted to have a little spotlight for this. Order Time Pay is the premier payment gateway for Order Time. As you know, we're moving towards a more payment-centric approach to Order Time. We're trying to make sure that everything is integrated and trying to have all these tools for you to access, such as Merchant Track, where you can click straight through and have your dashboard on the volume of credit card transactions that you're currently, pushing. So you can check out all your transactions, see whether they've been, voided, refunded, get the receipts. You can pull reports, specialized transaction reports, specialized funding reports. You can check on chargebacks and the like, just straight up within this dashboard, straight from Order Time. So we have completely integrated payments. What was that?
Michael, I finished it, and you're going to have to go to company preferences and just hit save to clear the cache.
All right, thank you very much. All right, let me go do that real quick. So yeah, as far as functionality for Order Time Pay, we currently have the ability to do credit card transactions. Someone needs to mute their microphone. All right, thank you. So you can do credit card transactions. You can send credit card payment links. You're going to be able to now do the ACH payment links as well. Simply from the email templates. You can have an email template that has a token for that link. You send that to your customers. They click the link and they can make their payment. We're going to have a really in-depth demo video coming out that's going to show each one of the processes for this. And I'm going to put it not only on the YouTube page, but also on the knowledge base that you can find at help.ordertime.com. And once that's up, I'll send out an email as well so that everyone can just take a look at that, so that you can go through the different features of Order Time Pay. But if you are interested in basically finding out the rates, comparing your current rates to what we can give you, head on over to our knowledge base and just basically, click on the Order Time Pay link. You can type in Order Time Pay, and then at the top of this article, you can click on sign up to learn more and compare rates and just fill out this form. You can even attach the last 3 months of your credit card statements and from your current processor gateway, and we will get back to you with a quote so that we can at least start the process, start the conversation with you about that. And that's so that's the top change from this build, is adding the ACH functionality. Another new part of it is the batch actions. We've added a lot of new batch actions. So on the sales order list, let's go take a look at that. So on the sales order list, we've actually added the ability to select the sales orders you'd like. You choose the batch action and you can create ship docs from them. So as you can see on my sales order list, I have a few that are in processing. I can actually, if I already know, these are approved, these are good to go, or like I can go off the approved actually to be more proper batch action, and then we can create ship doc. And this basically starts up this little window doing the regular batch action. It's processing the creation of the ship doc. Once it's done, it says, line items added to ship doc 101942. So we can actually now go over to the ship doc list. I can already hear like a feature request churning, Ross. We're probably going to want to link straight from that to go to the ship doc. And then right over here, we got 1001942, and it's already created off of that that sales order. So that's that new feature, just being able to create in a batch, like multiple ship docs off of multiple sales orders. And then we've got this new batch action on the work order full list, and you can basically do a deallocate. And when this occurs, it also sets the work order itself back to the waiting status, because of course it would be waiting if it is now deallocated. So I'll just kind of show this off in production work orders. And let me see, this one's already waiting. Let's see if I can just allocate it, see if my components are actually ready for the allocation. Oh, it looks like it is. I've got this file set up pretty nicely. So, okay, so now this one is in ready status. All the components that would be necessary to produce the finished assembly are allocated. And let me just reload to make sure that I'm seeing the right status. Yeah, and then I can go, and we've added the ability to actually deallocate. So now this is going to deallocate all the components, free them up for other work orders. And once that's done, it sets the work order back to waiting. So that's that change. And I saw some chat messages coming through. AI assistants. Okay, I see your message, Ian. Yeah, and if the sales order is in processing, it won't let you do it. Obviously, it needs to be approved. And then in the additional fees to add a credit card charge. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that that was all over here. There's new preferences that have been added to deal with additional fees. We're going to go to the preferences section now anyway. So that preference that he's referencing is in sales advanced. When calculating additional fees, include shipping and or deduct discounts. So it's over here in sales and advanced. I think it's all the way at the bottom. Yeah. So when you're calculating the additional fees, you can choose to add.
What I'm referring to is that you can, let's say you need to charge your customers a certain amount of fees for credit cards, you can add the additional fees, and that's from a sales order. You just click create a new sales order, and yeah.
Okay, yeah. And that would basically, let me see if I've got a good one here. You're talking about the additional fees section here, the additional fee amount, correct? Pretty sure. So yeah, we have the. So basically, if you have your fees set up in your profile list, you can go here to additional fee amount. You click on it, and then you'll have the drop down here. Let's say I've got one set up for 5%. So now it's going to set it, and you can set whether it's taxable or not. And then it's automatically going to attach that directly to this. So that helps with if you need to apply a fee directly to the customer for credit card processing, so that you're adding it onto the sales order. The other preference though was if you wanted to add the shipping amount or deduct the discount amount. This is more about like the ordering of like when the fee comes in. So it's like if you want the additional fee to have the shipping amount, then you check this. If you wanted to deduct the discount amount, then you check this. And we're going to kind of shore up the KB article on this so that you guys understand what the math looks like with a little bit more of an example in our documentation for this particular set of preferences. It's being made right now.
Mike, there was a question about ACH and e-check fees per company, or is it a fixed rate?
That's a question to have with the payments team. Like if you fill out that form, we can get back to you, and they'd be a little bit more knowledgeable about the fees that are included for each different thing, so that they can give you a breakdown. And also it's like a negotiated process. Obviously they're gonna, try to beat or match your current fees, and then there's no gateway fee. Like you might be used to having a gateway fee with like Authorize.net, but just having your order time account, kind of like you don't have that extra gateway fee with order time pay. So there's like savings in one place, and then that saves you overall. and they give you a breakdown when they give you the quote. So you'll be able to see the breakdown compared to what you currently pay monthly and get a better idea. So it's going to be like case by case basis. That's why we want you to start the conversation as soon as possible, because, you know, just get that data into them, and then they will basically throw that quote towards you so that you can start analyzing what's best for your business. Okay, so calculated fields on reports. You said that you turn that on, Ross. Let me see. What if I do more like a sales report? Daily spelled wrong. Let's go customize. Okay. So did you guys have this set up? Ian, are you still on the call? Like, how do I access the custom? Like, are the custom
You
fields
have to
just
go to
going
the
to show up?
preferences and save preferences.
Yeah, I had already done that. Okay, I did it again. Where do I see this functionality though? Can I just edit a regular report and see it straight up?
Yep. Yeah, you should be able to do that. So maybe let's work on that. I'll talk to Ross and
Yeah.
go on to the next thing.
Yeah, I can create a separate video on that anyway. That's going to be a very much asked for feature for having, you know, straight up calculated fields on the report level, not just calculated custom fields that you guys are used to, but being able to, you know, potentially have a calculated field that's working on that report based on the data that you've included on that report. So that's the purpose of this one. Once again, if you want to be part of the beta test for that, just reach out to support. Just make sure that the subject line of your ticket actually says, you know, calculated field on reports beta, so that it doesn't get, you know, lumped in with other stuff. The other set of changes includes preferences. So we have a new preference under items. Let me go to that real quick. Oh, I've got it open over here. And that preference is duplicate. Yeah, warn when adding a duplicate line item to a sales order, quote, ship doc, customer return, purchase order, receiver, or vendor return. Yeah, that's a big one that people have been asking about. It's right here, warn when adding. So yeah, if you end up having long orders where maybe you've got hundreds of line items and you don't know whether you've already put in one and then you try to add a duplicate, this one will warn you and it'll actually stop you from doing it. Very helpful to turn that one on. The other one is in the sales general tab. So sales general, and this one is actually warn when unbalanced between the promise date quantities and the line item quantities. This was a preference that existed in all orders. So any of you who migrated from all orders may be may recognize it. It's basically if you add a line with quantity to a sales order and you edit the promise date for that line, the sum quantity for the promise date doesn't match the line quantity, then it'll show you an error that says it's out of balance. I don't know if I have promise dates set up on this file, but I could try it. It's basically going into the sales order. Hopefully this is one that's processing and actually hitting the edit button for the line. And if you've got promise dates set up and you have that, let me see if I can. Let's wait on the staging server to do its thing. All right. So if I've got it set, okay. So I've got a promise date for 318, which is passed, a quantity of 1, open quantity 0. wonder if I can get it to actually flag off just this. No, I don't think I have this file set right in order to show that. But when you have it on, it'll show an error message. What I'll do is I'll update this preferences KB to include a screenshot of what that actual out of bounds message looks like. But if you want to test it in your file, or if you already have promise date set and you turn this on just to test it, you'll see that when you switch the quantity, it gives you the out of bounds error if it doesn't match the quantity that should have been for that promise date's time frame.
Mike, I just turned the preference on. It was actually off by accident.
What, for the calculated fields on reports?
So you're going to have to do it again.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'll just move on to these preferences first. So basically for order time pay, we wanted to create a separate section for these preferences. So if you go into the company prefs and you're dealing with payments, we've now separated these out. Order time pay has its own section. These are on by default. They're off on here because we were messing with it. But basically, you know, wanting to require CVV, obviously, you can turn it off for specific instances where you need to bypass that for basically phone orders, maybe where you've taken the card, but you don't necessarily need that because of your issuer or because of their issuer. So there's like niche cases when you'd actually turn that off. And then also we heard from a customer that there was a niche case where they just don't want to save any credit card numbers at all, even on the order time pay side. So they don't want to have that drop down where they choose between the last four and figure that out. So you can actually turn this off and it won't save new customer credit card or bank account info. So you can choose to actually turn that off. They're both on by default, however. With order time pay, yep, that's both of those. And then lot and serial numbers for getting available. We've got this new one here. So lot and serial numbers, getting available. When selecting an available lot and serial number, you get to basically check off what the initial quantity should be for the getting available section. So you can choose one, so that like every time you do it, it's just one, or the quantity ordered. If no quantity ordered, then one, and then you can choose between these different selections for that. So it gives you a little bit, you know, of leeway on how you want that set up when you do the getting available, what initial quantity that you actually want. We have a new API endpoint for repairs. It's for internal repairs only. Obviously that's in beta because we're still just testing that out. But if you're doing API work and you'd like to add repair orders to that, then that's something that you can reach out to us about as well. Like if you have any questions about how you should form up the queries via API. Okay, and another API one. Let me see, do we have any questions in the chat so far? Okay, I see what you said, Antonio. Okay, so it appears if it's a new report. I think our preference was just messed up, to be honest with you. Let me
It was messed up. He says old report too.
Yeah. So let's go into those sales reports, daily sales orders. All right, okay. Yeah, it's here now. So we can add a calculated field straight to the report. So what is this report even looking like right now? Nothing. Great. Okay, so let's find something a little bit better than that. What, the basic activity report maybe?
Hey,
Just
Doug,
something like
I will
that.
send you an email. I see your message about migrating from all orders, so I'll send you an email.
Mike, go to the sales report. Go to ship docs.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Item or sales orders. Open orders by item, and do quantity times price, so you get open amount.
Right.
Should be.
Is that just one that you have on your file, or
no?
what?
It's a standard one. Go into sales.
All right.
Right there. Sales order.
What, open order? Oh, open sales orders
Yep, that's the
by item detail?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
And then you can do a calculated field of quantity times open quantity times price to get open amount.
The question is, can I actually do that since I didn't delete my cache and hard refresh after doing that?
Mhm.
we could actually kind of trial that out. So if you want to empty your cache and hard refresh, you can go to the cookies and site data, manage on device site data. I can dump this, hit done. This will be on the recording, so this is great. Reload. I'm logged out, which I should be because it shouldn't remember anything about that session. I'll just Control-Shift-R this also for the heck of it, and then let's log in with one of the many logins. All right, right back on the page. Interesting.
Also, Mike, Tracy asked to be PC compliant, should credit card numbers not be saved?
Yeah, so we've gotten that question quite a few times. There was an old methodology by which we would hold on to at least one card within the customer section of the program. That actual functionality is going to be deprecated here very soon. We're going to have a methodology by which we pull those cards and push them into order time pay so that they'll be in the drop down list when you go to do a payment for that customer. It's basically like tokenizing that information and then feeding it into order time pay. So we're going to be able to do that for you. Currently, if you want to just turn that off, I believe that we had added that in company preferences under payments, maybe.
Order time pay.
Oh yeah, the order time pay one. Oh, okay, yeah. So this will also, yeah, this turns it off, right, Ross?
Yes.
Okay.
And if it's off, it doesn't save the token. But we're currently making a little utility for that.
Yeah. So if you wanted to turn it off on your side, you could actually unselect this, and that also removes that portion. And so this preference actually does multiple things.
It's also
but
going to for ACH too.
Yeah, it'll work on the ACH as well. But yeah, so if you don't want to show that anymore, you can go and unselect this preference. But we can basically, when you're going through the process of moving over to order time pay, we can pull, tokenize, and push those into order time pay. So that's a utility that we're building out right now, and it's going to be ready very soon. I don't think we're going to get the calculated fields on the reports. The button functionality is not firing for me. It might be a staging issue. It might be a DLL that we didn't move over to the staging server. So I'll just have to get you guys a separate video about the calculated fields on reports. Sorry about that. Oh, there was some extra functionality also added to custom messages. I know that maybe not a lot of you guys are using this, but if you go into, I believe it's profile lists, and then custom messages. I'm blind. Here we go. Custom messages. You can actually kind of do snippets. It's similar to certain CRM features, but you can basically add a new one, call it something. This is my special text. And okay, well, I guess not longer than 10 characters. It's not that special. Jeez. This is special. Or not that special here. Special-ish. And then for the template, it's like help me, I am text, and then we hit save. We've got that in, and then what's the hotkey to initiate it, Ross?
Alt G.
Thank you.
This was already on like memo and shipping instructions and all that kind of stuff, but now it's on anything with a big text field, so a text area element.
Yeah, so literally anything with a text element can work with this. Let's go to sales order itself, and let me just mess with the memo. This is where a lot of people use it too. So we hit Alt G, and then it brings up basically this little, it's kind of like a side menu with a pop-up, and you can see the specialist that I created. And when you click that, it's like, help me, I am text. So now it's there, and you can save that. But it's basically creating snippets that you're going to use all the time when you jump between documents and transactions and such. And you know, you can use it in pretty much any big text area that looks like this in the system. And then I can hit save.
And not just that area.
Yeah. Yep. And it just dumps
Mike
the
and
text in.
Antonio said he had the same issue. I had the same issue. I could add a calculated field when I hit the button. I could not. And Matt said, how do you create the additional fees amounts? And Eric said, I do not see a calculated fields tab in my OT system.
Yeah. So the calculated fields tab will only show up if we initiate it for you. And so you got to send in a ticket to support just saying, you know, calculated fields for reports beta, calculated fields in reports, like give me access, please. And then we'll give you access to that. As far as the button not working, we're going to have to look at that. Obviously, it's in beta. So, you know, if the button's not working, you know, we're going to get it fixed. This is not like a full-fledged feature of the update. It's just in beta, and we do appreciate you testing it though, because we need to see the use cases in which you guys would like to use it, and whether that messes anything up with the reporting engine in general. So like we're just basically trying to get more eyes on it, because we can create little test cases that work perfectly fine, but you guys might do an advanced formula that busts it up. So yeah, definitely put in for that. Now, using a regular custom field and just putting it in there is not the intention of this. It's kind of like a calculated custom field that is on that report, lives there, just to give you a calculation on that report, from my understanding. So that's the case you'd use it in, and just kind of sucks that the button's not working right now, that I can't show it off.
It'll calculate, you know, based on, let's say the order is $500 and you put in a 3% fee, it'll add whatever, $150, whatever, $15, which would cover potentially a credit card additional fee if that's what, you know, you're allowed to do.
Mhm.
You know, you have to make sure that the wording is correct, not to make sure, you know, not to get offside on that.
Yeah, and that's the that's answering the other question about the additional fees. Where do I put the fees in so that they actually show in that drop down on additional fees? Is that in the profile list?
Yes, it is.
Mm.
It's actually an item itself. It's an item.
Oh, okay.
It's an item.
So you're saying that 5% fee that's in this file is actually what, a non-inventory item of some type?
Yep. That's right. So it always has to be connected to an item, because when we synchronize with QuickBooks, we need an item. Same deal about, you know, shipping. It's kind of the same idea. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so in order to get something in that drop down, which was one of the questions, the drop down that I showed you of the sales order, you're going to create an other charge type item in the group called additional fees. And then you can name it something similar to this, where it's 5% fee. And then how are they actually setting that it is 5%? By just putting a price of 5%, it just does that?
No. Give me a sec. I'll show you in a few minutes on that.
Okay. Yeah, okay. And if we don't get to that due to the length of the webinar, then we'll round back, and I'll make sure. So after the webinar, I'll have this recording and I can attach it to a KB article, and then I'll also send it in a follow-up email to everyone who's on this call. And then in that follow-up email, I'll also include links to the different KB articles that explain these different features. So we'll try to make sure that the documentation keeps pace with the development speed. It's always a case like this where we put up out the update, and you know, I have a few KB articles that are linked off of the release notes, but we'll be adding a lot more very soon, and we've got to update obviously the preferences KBs in order to keep those up to date with these changes. Okay, promise dates on, yeah. Okay, so for anyone who basically does build to order manufacturing and uses configurable bill of materials, or anyone who uses kits and they want to use promise dates. Promise dates have been added for kit items and those configurations, so that when you're in the actual wizard, like if you actually add a configurable bill of materials to a sales order, the wizard that comes up normally where you make your selections, like your yes no selections. I think we had a separate help article on this. Let me see if I can pull
It
it.
has to be an existing one that you edit.
Okay, so it has to be an existing bill of materials, you're saying, or an existing assembly
Existing
item?
line-
Okay.
Meaning it can't be a new line item.
Gotcha. Yeah. So the configurable bill of materials, you're basically, you know, editing a bill of materials, setting up a specific revision or using the default revision, and then you can create groups and selections. Using those groups and selections, you can basically say, hey, I'm making, let's say, a custom surfboard, and I have different things that I can add to it, different styles that I can use. Basically, you can set the style, set the different add-ons, if you will, adding, you know, fins on the back or whatever, and then at the end you have the item you're actually going to create. But now we've added the ability to have promise dates for the selections themselves. So it's like, I'm promising that I will, you know, have this add-on done by this time, and then you actually have your overarching promise date for the assembly item itself, so that you can keep everything ordered. And you can also do reports off that as well for like when all these promise dates are coming due, or like the promise dates that I still have out and going for this month, stuff of that nature. A lot of people were asking about it for kits too, promise dates for the specific kit items. So it's like, I know I'm getting this in, and then I fulfill building the kits. In some of our customers' cases, the kits themselves are like gift baskets or things of that nature, where like a certain kit item is not in yet, but we have a promise date. And then once, you know, we want to make sure we can fulfill all these promise dates, have those items in time so that we can build the kit and send it out. So we've added that in. The custom messages we already went through, and just a few improvements, mostly bug fixes in this one. But for anyone on the call who is using Xero, we did a little thing for the credit notes. The reference field will now populate with the customer PO and the memo. So the customer PO from order time and the memo from order time will populate into the reference field within the credit notes for Xero. And just a slight tweak to the label designer when creating like labels with barcodes and everything like that. We wanted to make sure that the text, when you're looking at the text in the actual label designer, the text you're seeing will more better represent what it's going to look like in the printed version. Let me see if I've got like a label template that I could just mess with real quick. But basically, we're talking about like caption text and stuff of that nature. So if we go to data here, you see how like the font for the expiration date is like this. We're trying to make sure that what you see here is what you get when it's printed. I don't have label printing hooked to this tenant ID, so I can't show the PDF, but we're trying to make sure that these text sizes for these captions will better represent what is going to be seen on the actual printed label. Just make sure it's more clarified, especially when people go and manipulate maybe the font, or they manipulate, you know, anything in here with the rich text editor, like whether you're making it bold or you're switching it to Roboto. We want to make sure that all of that is represented here at the size that it would be on the label. Okay. Do we have any extra questions? Let me see.
I'm back if you want to ask me anything.
Yeah. Just to kind of round back towards the
Calculate
addition.
fielders look like a little bug, so we'll fix
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But just rounding back to the additional fees. So if I'm creating this other charge item like this, how do I make sure that this is doing the 5% thing that I want it to do?
Okay. All right. I'll check that. So
You want me to chime in there?
yeah, please.
Go for
Okay,
it.
so in your company preferences, you have to activate additional fees. Once you do, you create an item group called additional fees, and inside the item group, there's a checkbox to indicate that every item in that group will be set up as an additional fee. Then any item you put in that group, the price that you put in will be the default percentage of that fee when it's added to an order. But it's 5%. You add it on a sales order. When you select it, you can override it.
Okay. So what he's saying here is first you have to enable it. Obviously, you got to go into sales, advanced, and then enable charging additional fees on orders. Then you hit save. And then you said then you got to do the item group, correct?
Correct. So profile list, item group,
Profile list, and then
left-hand side, third one down.
thank you. The not so blind leading the blind. Let's go.
And
And then we
additional-
make the additional fees. I
you
see
see
it.
the checkbox down at the bottom. Because that
Okay.
that box should only appear in a group with the item type of other charge. And if you check that box for additional fees, any item you put in it, the price field becomes a percentage. And it will be used for the additional fee field in the summary of an order.
Okay, I get what you're saying. So if I choose like part, that doesn't show up. But if I
Correct.
go to item type other charge, now additional fees is there.
Correct.
And that's causing that functionality to occur. So then as soon as we have an item that we've created that is of the type other charge and we put in the group additional fees and we put the price at 5, that's going to automatically do the 5%. Yeah, so it's usually going to be a percentage based one anyway. So yeah, so that's how that's working. And then
Now, when you apply that additional fee to an order, it
yeah,
pops
let's
up
go
and
do that.
shows you the percentage and the amount. You can overwrite either one of those fields.
Oh, right on the order, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so I have my order. It's in processing. It has one item, one quantity at a price of $14.25. And then I'm going to go to my additional fee amount here. And I'm going to choose that 5% one. And now it's trying to do 71 cents, which makes sense. Where do we get this additional fee rate from? Or is that just that's the
5%.
percentage?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's just showing the 5%.
So
Okay,
if you change that to 10%, you'll see that number should change to $1.42 or something.
Okay, so they can just actively change the percentage.
Correct.
Oh yeah, okay, perfect. All right. So then depending on the order or if they know that the volume is going to be high and they want to just change the percentage to something specific, they can
You
do
can
that.
also change the amount if you don't want to do a percentage. If you want to give a flat $20, you can do that, or $10 in this case.
Okay. And then it's automatically counting, telling you the percent that is as well. So then I hit save. Let's see that apply 450. Okay. And there was actually already a payment on this one because we were messing with the payments. So they've already paid this, and then they still owe, that amount that we added as an additional fee, and it's already done the calculation for us. And it's also already doing some zip taxing here as well. All right. Okay. So any questions on that? Oh, can it be a flat rate, fixed rate? That's a good question. Fixed flat rate. Anything like that, Jason?
The additional fee is always set up as a percentage, and it does apply to the entire order.
Okay. For a flat rate increase though, what could he do for that though? Because I'm pretty sure he could potentially add a flat rate somehow by doing a price level, or
He can just click on additional fees, the 5%.
Yeah, he can edit it one by one, obviously, but
Right
maybe
right now, I am not sure. Let's go to the item list and find 5% fee.
yeah, we oh, of course I don't have it open anymore. Let's pull that back up. All right. And then obviously the 5 becomes the 5%. Is there any way to make it a flat rate, or is it automatically always going to be a percentage, Ian? If not, that would just be a potential feature request right there, Aurelio.
Yeah, that's a feature.
That's fine. That's fine. I've got it recorded, so I'll make sure to write it down, and then probably in the next one, or maybe in a hotfix. Do additional fees apply to the entire order? Yeah, we answered that one. Yep, applied to the entire order. What if you have line items that should not get the additional fees, like in a tariff? That would be the case in which maybe you let it do its thing, where you're able to, you click on the additional fees, you select your 5% or whatever, you notice how much it is, and then you know there's a line item on there. So now just reduce it by a certain amount. I know that that's more manual, but maybe that could also be a feature request for items that are non-feeable.
There's also, in terms of tariff issue, people are uncertain, prices are going up, prices are going down. There's a feature called in the price level. So let's go to that. Let's go to the price levels.
For sure.
And let's click on profile lists. Yeah, and then price levels.
Yep.
And then and just add a new price level called company-wide. Company. And pick the type. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Company-wide discount that applies to all customers and all items.
But you can do this price will increase and put in 5%. Now you see where it says assign start and end dates. Click on that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can actually set this company-wide price level where it expires. It's not all the way. It won't apply for the entire all the time. So this is a kind of a safeguard that if you want to do like across the board, and not sure if you want to really increase your prices, your list prices, but you want to do this, let's try to save that. There might be one already, but let's try to save it. Yeah, there is one.
So we've got a company-wide one down here amongst all the many ones. Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's the idea. That's the idea, basically.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
ups it or decreases it across the board with the possibility for expiration.
That's right. Exactly. And as a matter of fact, if you want every one of those price levels, so click on any one of the price levels.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, just on the left-hand side.
Right.
And you click, yeah.
Oh yeah, they can all be assigned start and end dates. Gotcha.
You also have the ability to stack those dates as well.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And we have documentation on price levels. I can send out the KB article also in the follow-up email after this webinar. The documentation is as complete as we can make it so far. I know there's been some changes to like volume, volume price levels, but we're trying to keep it updated with the mathematics that are involved. Price level addressed my question. Thanks. No problem. Are there any additional questions about anything we've asked during this entire webinar? You guys can click at the bottom right. There is a text box. It's kind of like next to the multiple people icon, and then just type in your message. If you want to, you can also unmute yourself. Just try to be orderly. If we don't sign up with order time pay, can we still send payment links through regular order time using our current payment gateway authorized.net? So basically, to answer that question, with authorized.net, especially anyone who's transacting with credit card currently, we're planning on deprecating this payment gateway, and we're moving towards order time pay as our premier payment gateway. At this time, I would ask that you communicate with the payments team, just make it known what your situation is, use that form. I'll also include the form on the follow-up email, so that you can have this discussion. But basically, in order to send payment links and everything like that, you're going to want to be on order time pay. The other ones will be shut off at varying different dates, but the premier gateway for order time is order time pay. We definitely want to have an individualized discussion with you about these changes, because depending on your business type and depending on what you're currently using and, you know, many different factors, you know, we can have a conversation about it and see where it all, you know, basically pulls out. We can find a solution for you that works. So just make sure to fill out the form, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Matt said not seeing custom messages on my profile list.
Let me see if that's actually a preference. Is that a preference you have to turn on, Ross, to start using custom messages?
Not as far as I know of.
Okay.
Go to the
And
admin, see if it's there.
is it restricted by role in any way?
It might be.
Okay, so to be able to add custom messages, did you check this middle section in sales? It's right below discount, Matt. If you don't see it there, it might actually be restricted by role. Maybe the master admin has to do it.
It could have been turned on in newer files. So let's, if it's an older file,
Okay.
we might just have to turn it on. So we'll make sure that that menu item is turned on for everybody. Like
that piece was not changed.
Yeah. So
Okay,
we'll just make sure that we'll update that for everybody very shortly.
Okay. All right. I'll make sure.
Tom said, can I continue to use QuickBooks Payments as my primary CC gateway?
For basically for all the other gateways, we're going to have an individualized conversation with you about them. Tom, I would implore you to definitely fill out the form. I'll send it in the webinar follow-up. Fill it out, and then let's have a discussion about that. We're going to have more meetings too about order time pay. We'd like to explain the ACH functionality, and obviously we're creating the video that's like a demo of all the different functionality that it has. But we're probably going to do a webinar just for that. So I kind of want to save it for that. I did. I'm in his admin. And I don't have it. Yeah, we'll put in a ticket right after this and make sure that the files that were already in before the change, make sure that you guys get custom messages, because it's a really fun feature. It's definitely useful, and it lessens the need for what I call digital manual labor. Like if there's something that you're always putting into these text fields, I want, you know, just making sure that you can dump that in without having to do copy paste and having notes open on a separate screen and things of that nature. Yeah, no problem, Tom. Yeah, it's more of like an individualized conversation, but we'll get to all you guys and we'll make sure that you guys are whole and everything's good.
And Mike,
yeah, go ahead.
Compliant question been asked. To be PCI compliant, should credit card numbers not be saved? Was that answered yet?
Yeah, already answered that one, but just to reiterate, it's like the feature of holding it on the customer itself is going to be going away, and then for people moving to order time pay, obviously we're going to try we're going to have a utility that is being built out by Ross right now where we can tokenize that information and push it into order time pay. But yeah, it's not fulfilling all the levels of PCI compliance by having that section in there.
PCI compliance is is you save the credit card, it saves it to a token, and that has
Yeah.
all the information.
Exactly. And
Maybe-
we have it encrypted, even though it's in that field. It's just a matter of, transferring that to the gateway.
Well, it has the last four, it has the expiration date and the card type.
Exactly. All right. I don't think there's any further questions. Obviously, if you guys do have more questions about what was asked in the webinar, you can send it to support@ordertime.com. I know that just made at least 3 people who are support on this call cringe, but you can always do that. And I'm going to send a follow-up email after this with all the information from the webinar, as well as KB documentation and this recording itself. It'll probably go out Thursday, Friday. And I guess the AI bots in chat are summarizing everything for me. So I'm going to take that as my cue that I can leave. Have a good day, everybody, and I hope you have a good week and a good weekend. Thank you for joining us with this webinar. We're going to be doing plenty more. We're going to get back into the role of doing webinars way more frequently. And I'm glad that at least 79 of you RSVP'd and we had over 60 people on the call. So we're glad to have it, and we're glad to have you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.